Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Welcome back to the 1847 show. Of course, I'm your host, Prince Larmin Jarbo, and apologies for the delay, for not streaming over the past few months. We've had a lot going on. Personally, I actually had to do a whole career shift, so leaving the military and then getting married and then now starting school. So all of those coupled together has been a huge part of the reason why we haven't been as active. However, moving forward, that is no longer going to be the case. So we're going to bring you all the content that we did before. And today, specifically, as we promised, this is making money move. So this is series two, lesson two. And during this series, all we're doing is pretty much highlighting extracts from the book, How Money Works. So if that's something you're interested in, if you would like to know how to make money moves, based on proven knowledge, if it's interesting to you to just be a better financial person, this is the show for you. This is the segment for you specifically. And we want you to join in, not just listen, but also engage, share this content, because there's not a lot out there, especially that is catered to our Liberian population. So please stay tuned, and we'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
Bosco baby, B to the O, S to the C O, straight out of China. I represent LIB. The song playing in the background is my latest single called Like It or Not. You can find me on social, especially YouTube at Bosco underscore LIB, and also on Instagram at Bosco underscore LIB, and also on Facebook at Bus Music. Right now, you're watching the 1847 show. You know it's about you and me and all things Liberian. So follow the 1847 show on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and also on formerly Twitter and now X. So let's go, 2024. See you.
Hello, my name is Grace Choma Baba, founder of Destiny Creative Organization and owner at Janice Sweets. You are watching the 1847 show. The 1847 show celebrates you, me, and all things Liberian. Follow the 1847 show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. The 1847 show, all things Liberian.
Welcome back. Yes, if you're watching, please let us know where you're watching from. And we're glad and we're happy to go into today's segment. So, what are we talking about today? Well, we're talking about making money moves. How do you make money moves? Well, you make money moves by being educated. Firstly, being educated and then applying your knowledge. So, the education that we're going to learn today is the rule of 72, right? Again, disclaimer, all of the information and the knowledge that's going to be given to you are extracted from the book How Money Works. Now, this is a book I've personally read. I did not write this book, but the application and the practical ways we can apply this within our Liberian context, these are things that I have personally added to this, right? So, though the foundational knowledge is from the book, the practical side of it is a personal perspective. So, with that being said, what is the rule of 72? Well, let me show you this image. So, the rule of 72, it's not a magic trick, it's a mental math shortcut everyone on earth should know. Well, if everyone on earth should know this, then are we exempted from this? Are we any different from everyone on earth? No. As Liberians, we ought to know what the rule of 72 is. So what is the rule of 72, right? That's the question. Well, the rule of 72 is a formula that is used to calculate how long it would take for your money to double, your money being your investment. So typically, as an investor, you're interested. How long is it going to take for me to earn X amount of money? X being whatever you desire, right? So how does it work? Pretty much, you simply divide 72 by whatever the interest rate is. So the interest rate could be 10%, 5%, and even up to what 50%, depending on what the investment is, of course. So the receiving end, the recipient of your investment would need to also agree to what you're charging for your interest rate. Now, the interest rate is just money you make on your principal. That's interest, right? Interest is money you make on your principal. The rate is how much you make, pretty much. So the rule of 72 is pretty much 72 divided by your interest rate, and that number tells you how long it would take for your investment to double. So for example, if you had $100 and you would like to double that $100, then you would ask and say, okay, what is the interest, where am I investing this money, and at what interest rate is it going to be invested, right? So if you have a friend who's willing to take that money and pay you 10% and pay you over a certain time frame, then you have a return of 10% interest. So then you would take 72 divided by 10, which you would get 7.2 years, right? 7.2. And then that number, remember, is in terms of years. So all that is it'll take you 7.2 years to double $100. Now, of course, this might seem like, oh man, 7.2 years just to get $200. But two things you got to keep in mind is one, this is passive income. Once you invest that money, you don't need to do anything else. You don't need to add money onto that. Whatever, it's going to be reinvested on a compounding basis, and then after that time frame, then you can withdraw that, right? So it's passive. And then also you have to remember that it's based on how much the interest rate is, which can be flexible. So you might not be willing to wait for 7.2 years, so you might charge a higher interest rate, which is going to reduce the number of years. For example, if you charge 15% instead of 7, now you're talking roughly 4.8%, 4.8 years, excuse me, right? So the interest rate really is the one driving how long this is going to take. And again, like I said before, is it's not just a one-way street. As an investor, yes, you do get to kind of give a range or your preferred amount of interest, but whoever is receiving that investment to use and make you money is going to have to agree to that. So quick recap, the rule of 72 is pretty much a mathematical formula that we use to determine, well, how long is it going to take me for my investment to double? Well, you might say, why do you want to double your investment? Because as an investor, your money has to make you money, right? And you cannot be financially free if your money isn't working for you. And then this is just one way your money works for you. So, um, if you, for example, um, maybe have a long-term goal, right? Let's say, why is this relevant? It's relevant because knowing how quickly your money doubles allows you to know, gives you an idea on how to plan your financial future, right? So, and this is only applicable for long-term planning. For example, if you're planning for college, right? If you're planning to build a house, right? Those things don't happen overnight. So the rule of 72 might work in your favor because then you have a set amount that you want to save. And if it's for a house, for example, you might say in 3 to 5 years, I'm trying to build a house for my family or for myself, whatever the case is, right? So then You take that initial investment, you invest it, either you give it to a bank in what they call a certificate of deposit, right? A CD. And pretty much those have higher interest rate. So then you can do that. That's one vehicle. A vehicle is just a way that you invest. Or you can, put it in a business that would agree to pay you again a certain percentage. And then also there are other vehicles and other means you can use to invest, but the idea is wherever you're investing your money, you should have a clear idea of how much interest is going to be paid and if it's on a compounding basis. Because if it's not compounding, this formula doesn't really work for you. This is under the assumption that whatever you earn is going to be compounded. And what compounded means is it could be monthly, daily, annually, but we'll assume for simplicity it's on an annual basis. So if it is on an annual basis, every year, if you invested $100 initially, the first year you're going to earn interest. If it's 10%, then you're going to earn $10. On the next year, however, it's not going to be based on the initial 100% principal. Now it's also going to be based on the interest that you earn. So the new interest will be based on $110, and then so on and so forth. And then the longer the years go, the more your interest earned increases. So the rule of 72 is based on a compounding basis, right? So two things have to be true. Your interest rate has to be true. It has to be established. And then also the number of years also is going to be affected by that, like we said. And then you also got to keep in mind that, hey, compounding interest have to be considered. So whoever is accepting my investment has to understand that this is on a compounding basis, right? So you can use this formula when you're trying to build a house, save for a house, save for your kids' college or your own college, or maybe you're just trying to buy land, right? So you don't do those things overnight. You don't just get up and decide to buy a land. So then you plan for it. And then you use the rule of 72, which we said is a formula, a mathematical formula that helps you understand how long it's going to take for your money to double, right? So what is the con of not knowing this or not applying this? Well, I'm going to put up this image for you. So on the screen there, we have, one second. So we pretty much have here these data or for America, and it's taken from the book, like I mentioned. But assuming that this, is somewhat true to Liberia as well. So the average national interest rate for your savings account, right? It's about 0.4%. So remember, it's 72 divided by whatever the interest rate is. So if the interest rate is 0.42%, and that's what the bank is willing to pay you, well, if you divide 72 by 0.42%, it's going to take 171 years for you to double your amount. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be $1,000. It could be $10,000. It's going to take you 171 years. Now, I don't know about you, but God has not guaranteed me 171 years. At most, maybe 70, right? So the question is, that is too long of a time frame to wait for your money to be doubled. So what do you do in that instance? Well, you look for other vehicles, other investment options, right? And on the other hand here, where this is the money that banks charge people when they get credit cards, when they take out loans. So the bank is charging people about 20% of interest. Now, using the same formula, if we take 72 and divide that by 20%, the banks, they're doubling their money. This is what they're paying you on the left, right? It's taking 171 years to double your investment that you deposit in the bank. But on the right, it's taking them 3.6 years to double their investment when they give you a loan. That's crazy. So if you don't understand this concept, what are you essentially doing? You're pretty much giving the bank a loan that is almost interest free, and then they're making triple, if not quadruple, the interest. So one, if you understand that, you know how to avoid that. You know how to avoid saving your money in a typical checkings account or a savings account, because those are not in your best interest. Then you know how to, hey, now that I know I need to double my money within this time frame, maybe I need to find a better investment vehicle. So the idea here is one, to not just understand the concept, but to also understand what happens if you do not apply the concept. So it's very, very critical that, as we try to advocate on this show, it's not just about having knowledge, it's also about applying the knowledge. Applying the knowledge. So, first, it benefits you, it benefits your family, and at large, it benefits Liberia. So, this is the knowledge that we've been wanting to share with you. And like we said, this is the rule of 72. And if you would like to read more content from this book, more extractions and other topics, you can use a different device and scan that QR code in the corner, right? And that would take you to the website where they can test your comprehension on various topics, and then you can further research and learn more about those topics. But pretty much that's all for today. These series are meant to be short, meant to be informative, and to the point. And I hope you've taken away something. I hope you've learned something. But the rule of 72 is just a formula that you can use to kind of have an idea on how long it's going to take to double your investment. And how much is double is dependent on your interest rate. And it's also dependent on how much you invest, right? So those two things have to be true. But until next time, you've been watching the 1847 show, and this is our Making Money Move segment, which is Series 2, Lesson 2 on what is the rule of 72. So until next time, thank you for watching. Of course, comment, share, like to stay engaged so other people can be informed. We have a very small country, but not a lot of resources. So we have to get this information out there. So please feel free. Please help us share this content. And until next time, God bless you and God bless our beautiful Mama Liberia. Take care.
Bosco baby, B to the O, S to the C O, straight out of China. I represent LIB. The song playing in the background is my latest single called Like It or Not. You can find me on social, especially YouTube at Bosco_LIB, and also on Instagram at Bosco_LIB, and also on Facebook at Bus Music. Right now, you're watching the 1847 show. You know it's about you and me and all things Liberian. So follow the 1847 show on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and also on formerly Twitter and now X. So let's go, 2024. See you.
Hello, my name is Grace Choma Baba, founder of Destiny Creative Organization, and owner at Janice Smith. You are watching the 1847 show. The 1847 show celebrates you, me, and all things Liberian. Follow the 1847 show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. The 1847 show. All